This video will be called WS, maybe WS1. What WS means is word study. That's what it actually is, but I'll make it abbreviated WS. Now, I'm starting out this because it comes from what I call the Open Bible. Now, I had a previous edition to this, which had in the very center of it a visualization of the Bible, and then the cross references were all on the side, and there were tons of them. But I got a new edition of this, and in this one, where you had that visual part of the Bible right in the center, now it's at the very beginning. So this is at the beginning and not in the center, that visual section. And what's also different about this, it does not have as many cross references as the other one did, but when you get to each verse, you will see cross references right beside each verse. You can see right there, there's one for example, and there's one for example. Now, those are examples of much less cross references, but it does have other things that are in an advantage. But the most basic thing about this entire thing is what's called this topical index to the Bible, which if I can open there, topical index to the Bible. It's got more topics than any other Bible. So that's one thing that's completely unique about this. Now, I had an earlier edition, but this is the latest edition. Now, what I did, I went and got this by Nelson. And what this is the topical index is the same as what you saw in the Open Bible. But what's wrong with this is when you turn the pages on the very right-hand side in between the pages, you can't really read what's in the scripture there. So that's not very good, but I'll tell you something about it. But first of all, on the back, this is the same as the topical index in the Open Bible. But what it says on the back, it says, Nelson's Biblical Cyclopedic Index offers a more word study readings than in any other resource of Bibles available, which is true. But there's something else about this which is different. Now, for example, if you go through here in any particular section you're reading, you will come to something that is called word study. Now that's what I'm doing right now. For example, if you come to a page here, you're talking about something in particular. For example, if you're in where it says edify or build, you will see that topical index right here, but there is a word study. Okay? Now there are 800 word studies in here. And of course I have used this to mark them all out. So I've gone all the way through this from the very beginning to the last page, and there are 514 pages in here. So I've taken every one of those where it says word study, and I've taken them to this topical index in here. So for example, if you're going through this, you will notice that I put that right down the bottom. Now you see right here, it says WS, word study, right there on the side. You see that right there? That's word study, and that's the page that it is on in this. So you can go there and read that word study all by itself. Now that's a very, very good resource. But what's also interesting about this new edition of this Bible itself it also has two things in it. One thing is commentary on the bottom, for example, right there. That's one commentary, but on the bottom it will tell you where you go next. So you can follow a particular commentary about that particular subject to the next section. Now that's one thing about it that's in here. But also, and you have that all the way through, but what you will also get, though, is word studies. The same as I saw in that one that I showed you by Nelson. But this has also its own word studies in it as well. So that goes all the way through with those. So what I'm going to do next, when I go to this topical index in the front, I will also show you where these word studies are so I can find them on a certain page like I did before. So that is what is in here. Plus, it has a harmony of the Gospels, which only has the 4 Gospels in it. I have some harmonies of the Gospels that are extra. But then there are additional things after that once you're through with all of this. But you will see these word studies all the way through. There's another one, for example. So that is what I have been doing with this. And it makes not only the largest topical index that there is about the Bible, but also those word studies, which are very fascinating. So you put these two together, the Open Bible and the Nelson's Biblical Cyclopedic Index, combined is what I have now, and that makes, for biblical scholars like me, a wonderful resource. So I hope you enjoy this little WS1, and I hope you get both of these, or at least the Open Bible, to enjoy that large topical index.